Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens.
What's going on, folks? Your boy Max, the speaker.
And this is week 88. Today we're going to talk about money management, finances.
Yes, sir. Going into the holidays.
I think, with Motivation Mondays, the way we structured this from the beginning, it started with finances.
Yeah,
actually, that's how it started. It's crazy to think that we're almost about to be at 2 years when Serb was announced this, when we made the decision to say, yo, we're going to do the Sunday and then go Monday. But I think when it comes to money, when it comes to finances, especially in this age, times have changed completely.
Yep. Well, I'm a big believer, once you get the money out of the way, you can start to focus on other things that matters. It's people may not see, it's money that all matters. It's money part of mental health. But I'm a big believer, if we were to get that factor out of the way, we could start focusing more on the things that we want to put more effort and time into. So, you hear Motivation Monday, motivation, self-understanding through finances. So, it's kind of like a twist in there, but airlines.
And, it's all about, our whole structure is educating people on self, purpose, and finances, right? So I think when it comes to you, I love this conversation with you because I sat down 3 years ago with you in a McDonald's when my life was going left. My credit was 580. It was bad. But the first step I did was the awareness of understanding where I was and that I wanted to do better. And I think sometimes it's hard for people to own up to that, own up to their mistakes that they've done in the past and be like, all right, today I'm going to work on it and better it.
Well, yeah, that's the first step I always talk about, awareness, making that decision. Like we said, deciding to decide is a decision. So when you take that first step, you got to acknowledge it, and it's tough. And that's where most people are at, admitting their faults, looking at themselves in the mirror, not facing who it is that they are and where they are at. That's the beginning of anything. You cannot be afraid of the demon, I should say, such strong words, that's stopping you from becoming your better self. So I know it's mainly with pride, to admit to this is where I am, quote unquote, I'm failing. You're not a failure. You're just on the path of failing. Like I said, failure doesn't exist until you decided to stop, and where you stop is where you decide that this is it. That's what I define failure. So taking that step in itself, acknowledging this is where I am, this is where I need to be, and I need to get help or reach out to somebody. So that's always awareness, and kudos those who take the first step and admit where they are and they want more out of life.
And sometimes in life, not even sometimes, I think it's very necessary for us to realize, see where we are in life, and it's okay to step back. It's okay to turn the fun, to not have any fun and really lock in and get yourself right. Go grind, not spend crazy, and understand the goals and stuff that you want to, because I feel like during that moment is when you find out who you really are and what you want out of life.
What you're capable of doing, sacrifice. To the young folks that are listening, I think when you're young, you should be able to find out all that you can do, right? Meaning this is where you are, this is where you need to give up. When you're in your 20s with little to no responsibilities, you may feel like they're tremendous responsibilities, but as you get older, more responsibilities it's upon you. But to find out all that you can do, if it's working 2 jobs, if you're saving this, sacrificing this. We have this thing with the young people, these are my best years, I don't want to waste it. Your best years is how you decide to live your life. Health-wise, you could say that physically and shit, but then you could work on that too, i.e. working out, being in the gym, just being physically, mentally tough. So the best years notion is kind of a misunderstanding, I will say. But I think you should find out all that you can do. And that's what you just talked about, giving it up, making that sacrifice. And the earlier you are to make a sacrifice, I think the more option and the better choices you have of life.
I seen this conversation the other day, and it was funny. It was how they put out there and say more money, more problems. Yeah. The person's I like where my life is at because I already have problems. I don't want any more. So I'm cool and comfortable. What do you have to say to that?
I'm cool and comfortable. Well, I not so much as betting ourselves. Maybe you might not go for the money goal that will open more doors, right? Because as doors open, more opportunities opens, and opportunities lie side by side with danger. So that's what they usually talk about, more money, more problems, because money will give you opportunities, will let you into certain rooms. But like I just said, every opportunity has danger, right? So more money, more problems, and choosing to stay where you are. If you're comfortable in the financial status aspect of your life, or I encourage everybody, even if they reach that goal for themselves financially, still go, get, receive, however you look at it, and give to those who don't have that opportunity, right? That's why I'm a big believer of giving back, right? maybe people might not have the opportunity you have. Like, you know, we're gonna be we're in Ghana these holidays, and as you can see, not everybody has the same circumstances or the opportunity like we do have in Canada, right? So if we're able to get and give, so be it. But if you just want to stay where you are because you're happy with your life, I challenge you to do more to be able to give back to those who don't have.
And it's talking about giving back. A lot of people, I feel like everybody always wants to need to give back, whether it's to their community, whether it's to family, cousin, nieces, when birthdays come up, kids, all of this. It requires money. It requires, you know, if you have good credit, if you have a credit card, you can do certain things that won't hinder you or put you in a position that will have you stuck. Because I think sometimes that's a lot of people who get stuck when it comes to finances. They don't have other means, which is like credit. They don't have not even credit. Either they have bad credit or they don't have credit cards to be able to do things. So I think it's very, very important. Like, for instance, a lot of people don't know with Capital One, it's your approval is guaranteed.
Yeah.
It just depends on the amount. So I think that is even important to the conversations that we need to be having and letting people know this, because at times, you know, people are just scared to find out information that's best for them. So it's important.
You don't know what you don't know. Don't live in fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And until you calculate, you have calculated risk. It's not risky, you know. I was reading this the other day, and it says, like, you should be afraid of taking risks, right? However, you should be more afraid of not taking risks and being where you are, right? So if you want to make that the holidays that we're in, if you want to make it better for somebody else, and if that means sacrifice something, taking risks to get where financially to be able to give back to your loved ones in a time like this, go for it. Like, you should go for it and be able to assist your loved ones. And you actually said money does matter. Money does play a big role into it, but you shouldn't make it break you, right? Don't let money lead you to places you do not want to be, right? Be careful who you become in pursuit of what you want.
It gets dangerous sometimes. Danger! Now, is there a max of speakers rules to making money or maintaining money, or like what is it? Maybe, you know, because you do a lot when it comes to money, and you put your money in the right places.
Yes, I'm all for it. I have rules, like, depending on who you are. This is not no financial advice. This is just some of the codes I kind of been living by. Like, you know, I'm a big believer. Well, I don't think you should buy anything to impress people. Like, you shouldn't want to keep up with the Joneses. You shouldn't want to have the latest fit to be cool, unquote. Like, you know, if you can afford it, to fit in. If you can afford it, great, so be it, right? If the holidays, you shouldn't go overextend yourself just to please others. Do what within your means. I'm a big believer living within your means. I go as far as living below your means, right? For a better future. I'm extreme of that. Like, you know, it's like the little that I do get, or people may say, is like, where do you attribute it to? Where do you contribute it to? So there's just things around the holidays, like, yes, I do give back. Yes, I get gifts from my loved ones and things like that, but it's all based on the decision I made prior to leading up, the sacrifice I have made. So I have rules of living within your means, better yet, living below your means. So when the opportunity presents itself, you're able to attack it with full advantage.
And today we're going to talk about 8 income streams, different income streams, and why it's important and why we should realize in this age as millennials and all of these great things. As you have, as we have younger siblings, we have people who are going into businesses. I think it's important for us to stress the importance of having, you know, streams of different streams of income. And it's even crazy. I was thinking about it because a couple weeks ago, last week of November, when they announced this new variant, a lot of companies took precautions. So, like in the stock market, a lot of stocks dropped, but it's at those times it's a good time to go buy the dip. And these are, you know what I mean? These are conversations we need to be having, because sometimes people fear that they miss out when it comes to stocks or opportunities like this. And then something like this happens, a new variant comes out, companies get a little scared, and then chaos happens. But then, you know, as it drops, that's a perfect time if you're not involved to get in. What advice would we give to anybody who's not used to or not involved into like stocks or crypto when things go low, like in the educational purpose? Is it something you need to budget some money to be like, okay, I can put this money aside that I can play with? Because people need to understand, when you are investing, most of the times you're investing money that you could potentially lose. Okay. Like, you can't be putting your money, if you really need that money, then don't be playing with it.
Yes. Like I just said, living below your means, right? The money that you will spend on the things that you do not need. A couple episodes we talk about saving your Coca-Cola money for a bottle of fine wine. That's what we mean. And even greater yet, for a couple of bottles of fine wines, taking advantage. So sitting back. So people may miss the opportunity and they may feel like they want to lose nothing. Earlier I said it's all risky, right? Being where you are is risky. You cannot escape life without risk. It's all part of life. So you might have to sit out. You might have to get an education, but action is the most important thing. Just leap of faith. Like you may feel like this is not the right time. Should I go in as like a double dutch? You're kind of like going back and forth. Should I jump in? Should I not? But if you're able to live below your means and realize that I'm investing my Coca-Cola bottle money or money that I could have spent on things I did not need, you have more room, right? And if you develop that mindset and getting yourself that education, you have calculated risks, right? That'll put you in a better position to win. Right? And you will get rewarded for your hard work. It's not, I save $1,000, I'm gonna dump it into this stock because everybody's talking about it. Don't be a follower, right? Be a student. Get that information. But most importantly, when you're a student, people read, you never pull the trigger, right? Somebody said reading is a form of procrastination. You feel like you're taking action, but you're not. You just learn about a situation. You're looking over the blueprint over and over and over again. But really, you gotta pull that trigger. So it goes both ways. Well, one, have a calculated risk. Two, don't be afraid to take action. You find out quicker if it is or not. And three, if you want to have that opportunity, live below your means, ladies and gentlemen, so you could take full advantage of the opportunity that presents itself, right? They say live within your means. That's basic. Live below your means to win. Live above your means, you're losing. May not be this term, but long term, along the way, you find yourself at a place you do not want to be, with things you do not wish to have.
Cool. And that was crazy. That was a serious bar, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it's perfect time during the holidays for us to even have these conversations. And one thing that I want to point out is everybody was once a student. The professor was once a student. Yeah. The manager was once a worker. So it's all about what we do and what we decide to do from, our decisions that we make daily. That presents a brighter tomorrow. And we gotta, sometimes you gotta have that conversation with yourself. I don't know, everybody has that, but you gotta have that true conversation with yourself and understand where you are, where you want to be, and how am I gonna get there. And one thing that you always talk about is gonna require action. So we gotta do this for ourselves, man. As the year is about to wrap up, we have another year ahead of us, and we don't want to make the same mistakes we made
at all. And the holidays will test you more than ever, right? The banks lend out the most money during the holidays. The spending goes up drastically, right? And it's the setup for the beginning of the year. And then we have the seasonal depression. All the things that play a role into so many things. Everything is affected by everything else, right? The decision that you make today, you may not look at it back in March it's based on the decision I made in December. You may not see it, but truth be told, if you track it and you trace it down, it's the decision that you made today. So going into the holidays, right? Be mindful, right? Calculate everything, write things down, have a plan, a detailed plan. People who do not have a plan are planning to fail, right? So the little that you do have, if it's as far as what you're gonna buy, where you're gonna spend your time, and it's the holidays, right? It's about spending with your loved one. It's not so much as with gifts. And the reason why I want to talk about money at a time like this, because we all know how it could affect us long term. Like I just said, the decision that you make today could play a deep role into how your summer will be next year. And you may not be aware. You might think it started in March, right? So let's be very mindful. Let's be very careful how we handle money and spend our time this holidays.
Now, before we get into the 8 different incomes that we're going to speak about, why is it so important first to even have a secured income? Let's talk about that, or the benefits of having a secured income. Then I'll get into the 8 different income streams, and then we'll go into the benefit of having different streams of income.
Right, security. It speaks for itself, security, right? We all want to feel safe. You need some type of security, some type of backup, something to fall back on, a safe haven. So you got to have something that knows coming in. For this world that we live in, nothing is free. We know that by now. Nothing is free. So you want to be secure in the sense that I have a basic need, or secure, something to secure me, to make me sure that I'm able to be where I need to be tomorrow, have the things that I need to have tomorrow. So you do need a secure income to secure yourself, to security blanket.
Now, in today's age, why do you think right now it's so necessary to have different streams of income? With the way the world is going, the way everything's going crazy, even since the pandemic came, if you're trying to put down on a property, put a down payment, now the rules have changed. You got to put that 20% down. It's not before where you could drop to 5%, 10%. Things are just getting crazy. Numbers are getting high. You need to save, put money away to be able to do the things that we need to build generational wealth, which we speak about and encourage here.
Evolution. We live in one place. We live in one world place, and we see all these things that are offered to us. So I think things are moving faster than ever. We're more creative than ever. Living in one world place might mean globalization, sharing the internet, sharing the network, and then we see our options, right? So with that being said, comes more options, requires more as far as discipline and other things that we have to give to get into those domains. So it's like, we don't want to live a basic lifestyle, right? It's not just where you live and who you are. Like, we want to experience places, and those cost money, right? And our basic means don't cover that. So of course we have to tap in other avenues, right? We have to tap in other avenues, and now we're aware of those people who have made it out for themselves. What are some of the things that they did or are still doing, right? And we know that this is the route to financial freedom. This is the route for me to do the things that I want to do. So I think evolution, that's what I think the answer comes down to.
And before I know we said we're going to mention these 8 different stream of incomes. I want to kind of like lead up to some conversation that shows why when we break it down and have this conversation, why it's mandatory. Like, it's not even a game or a joke no more. Now, when it comes to like other institutions, like when people get credit cards, why do you think, what are some of the reasons why people get caught up in credit cards, or maybe use more of their credit card, not just use the 30%? Like, why do you think people get caught up in that?
Simple. It's free money. You don't have to pay. Yeah, you have to pay later. You get money now. And we're so optimistic about the future more than ever. We think no matter what happened in the past, no matter what happened in the past, we may blame ourselves, but we think we're different from who we are. We pick and choose what side of us we want to keep moving forward. But we're so optimistic. I have a payoff. I have a handle. I'm going to work this day and pay that. But we don't know about tomorrow's problems. So I think that's how it's easy to get caught up. You go on the bank, hey, here's a $1,000 credit card. No, 0 payment for 6 months. Sounds great. You think I'll pay this out for 6 months? Because right now everything is fine and dandy. Like, you're gonna have it all figured out, and your job, you're gonna get all the hours. So I think we just get caught up in that, like thinking about the later, that delayed gratification, and they know that, the banks know that. Yeah.
So what advice would we give to people during these holidays to make sure we stay under our means, and make sure we just, we budget correctly and make the right decisions leading up to the new year, so we're not caught up in that cycle where you're like, it's because of this decision today is why I'm caught up in 2022, when you wanted to, start off maybe the year on a better note, and then here you are stuck because now you're in debt.
You know who you are. Stay true to yourself. You know who you are. Stay true to yourself. You know what you're capable of. It's not all of a sudden that you weren't able to manage your other credit cards, not a new credit card that these banks are offering you, CIBC, BMO, TD, whoever is sending it. All of a sudden, you're going to have it figured out. You know who you are. Don't make the same decisions. Don't make the same decisions expecting different results, right? Don't be surprised by where you are. Like I said earlier, don't be surprised by where you are tomorrow by the decisions that you made today. You know the decision you made. Take full responsibility. So take accountability.
I think sometimes addiction plays a big role into where people's finances could go left. People have certain addictions, whether it be, I used to be addicted to gambling. I used to be in the casinos left, right, and center. And there was some urge until I really sat down and I realized, like, I was going through the down path. And usually, sometimes you got to take a big L. That's where we kind of caught up, because I was stuck and I needed some bread. And I'm like, let me see if Max would help me. And you did. And here we are today. So the risk, no reward, bro. You got to take that leap of faith and ask questions.
If I knew it was gambling, I would have not done it.
Hey, I had no choice.
Hey, let's start. Listen, gambling. I used to gamble myself. We like to think that we're in control out of the system. I was kind of addicted. You think I can handle it, But hey, gambling is very serious. For those people that are gambling the holidays, like,
Gambling's supposed to be used like a source of recreation. Like, supposed to have fun with it if you're doing it. It shouldn't be something that you're depending.
Recreational. People depend on this. If it's become a source of income for you, I think you're in a dark place, right? You're in a dark place. And regardless what you say to yourself, that you win more than you lose, I've never yet come across somebody who win more than 100%. They lose. So you may have your days, but that shouldn't be something we should condone. But as you're saying, my brother, in regards to all of that, is that, like, admitting we have some type of addiction. I don't know what it is, And I deal with people who are addicted to online shopping. Everything looks good online, right? Let's slow down. It's a small price to pay for what it is that you want tomorrow, right? You know, they're releasing things. So we're a world of consumerism. Like, you know, we want this and we want that. And they know, and they're studying the algorithm, seeing what we like best, what we clicking, what are we into, right? And they're just like, you know, it's like the emails. It's kind of like pulling a slot machine.
Yep.
Because each time you go there, you might think it's a jackpot. You might hit something. And we just had Black Friday that just passed. Boxing Day's coming up. Like, it's a deal. And look into that. I think really deals they're often be given. Like, we have some sort of an addiction, right? And we got to be able to control that. Control the mind, right? Once you control your mind, control everything else around you.
And I mean, let's talk about these 8 different streams of income. We talked about the first one already, earned income. That's what you get from working a job. The next one in line is profit income. That's what you earn from buying and selling. Now, what are the pros to profit income, and what's, you know, you're Mr. Count Profits in himself. Well, first of all, before you get to profit income, how did you come up with that name? Was it like you know, how did that business name come up?
That's a little that stems from rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. All money ain't no money out. You know what I mean? All money ain't no money out. And I'm just like, we just interested in counting profits. Like, you know, it's great getting the money, but I just want to count profits. Like, that's all I'm interested in. So that's where it came from. We're just counting profits. That's where the gain is at. That's where the win. You could count your sales, you could count your revenue, but we counting profits. You know, that's what matters. Count profits. That's where that stands from. Count profits.
Now, what is it? You see a lot of people in the world do it. Buying and selling. I've gotten into it. It's probably one of the best sources of income that I have with buying and selling. I love it, but what is so good about it? Like
before buying and selling is like modern time, but it's trades. It's a form of trade, right? I may buy and sell. You know, I go buy and sell somewhere. It's on an exchange. It sells for itself. But like I just said, it's mainly, we talk about communication is key with everything. Buying and selling is it's like a set. You're an entrepreneur, right? You get a deal, you sell it for somebody else. It's so great because you're in control of it, right? You get a deal, and you try to make more off it than you got it for. So buying and selling is like, I think it's like the one in itself, kind of like the easiest thing to do, right? Study the marketplace, study the research. What's the thing is going for? Go on Amazon and get it cheaper. You could do that anywhere, anytime, right? It's all about supply and demand.
And these are things happening worldwide, so it doesn't matter what trade, what field.
Everything is buy and sell. Everything is in a form is buy and sell.
The next one is interest income. This is the big one. It's so funny how the other day on Snap, you were talking about you're a proud brother for your little bro, like how he had you going to pick up money, you put him onto a program, and then you were talking about percentage wise, but then it came into jokes because, you know, if you're immediate family, then you get a certain rate, but if you're not, then don't be coming complaining. But interest income, that's what you get from loaning money.
Well, yeah, you get interest on top of what you invested, and it speaks for itself. That's where we talk about cash flow, right? You let your money grow for you, and the banks, they do it. I think the bank rates are terrible.
Horrible.
Between me,
they know too.
They know too. Everybody knows that they make more on your money than they give you. But it's like gaining interest on top of your money, investing your money somewhere so you can gain some type of gains on it, interest income on it, and it's a good feeling if you invest in the right things and things that you do believe in, and if it's people that you do believe in, not just the product, the people themselves, because they're the ones that are gonna have to deliver, right? You start to see some positive things from that, and like your capital stays the same, and you keep getting money on top of your money. So you take your earned income, right? If you want to get buy and sell, profit income, whatever it is, and you turn into interest income. I'm a fan of interest income because I just always look at it as like, I don't lose my money. The money that I work hard to earn is still there while I get interest income from the money that I invested. And that's where we tap into our wants, right? That's where we could start escaping, leaving between our means and going above our means with interest income because it's added value. And for those people, you could be highly aggressive, taking interest income, dumping back in your capital, the cycle, so you could grow, and then it becomes addictive. I'm addicted to investing.
If you guys just paid attention, each income that we're talking about, see how it played a role into everything, how you just broke it down, that was really smooth. And people do need to understand that there is pros and cons when it comes to interest income, when it comes to loaning out. So you gotta understand that. Like there's one
It's not risky.
There's one thing that I love, that when people say once you give money out, you gotta be prepared to, like, if you're giving somebody money, you gotta be prepared to lose it as well too, or don't give it at all.
Yeah, you gotta calculate it, right? It's like any type of money that you invest, like one of the general rules, if you're not able to lose it, like if it's gonna be detrimental to your health, your life, your health, whatever it is, that shouldn't be money that you should be investing, right? That's why I said when we live below our means, what we would have spent within our means is what we invest. So even if we fall flat on our face, we're still on that stage one comfortability, right? For that growth that we're waiting for. So of course, if you put something out, it shouldn't be your last. It shouldn't be something that your family. It shouldn't be your rent money to try to win or score something, you know. And I see that happen so often where people are literally crippled or in bad positions from making these kind of decisions because the upside sounds good and all, but it's all about calculating.
And the next one, I love this one, royalty income. That's from others using your idea. And I want to speak on this one because sometimes people are too nice. They have no idea that they just be dropping gems and ideas and nothing comes out of it from them. So they be like, you know, and this is what they always talk about, if you have ideas or when things are happening, keep it to yourself or to your inner circle or to your mentor only, because you never know. People are always looking for ideas and stuff to, you know, make good use of and get some income off of it. So I want to talk about that one, royalty income.
Well, it's after a service has been done and then you still get paid on it. It's great. Like I said, I work with a few artists and some of the works that we did, I still managed to get some type of money off it. But like investing in something that may not give you beneficial gain at the beginning, but due to your creativity, the work that you put in, you have your royalties. This is used mainly done in creative world artistry, as far as music or anything itself. Like in the NFT world that we're going into, along those lines, it's like a piece of your work that you still get paid after the fact, right? You may not be directly involved now, but the work that's done prior, now you're getting paid in it. So sometimes that could be the long gain, the longevity, right? That could help towards your financial freedom.
And you never know. Like I want to give a big shout out to Mariah Carey, because every Christmas, every holidays, her numbers go crazy when it comes to
dividends and royalty forever. That's great, you know. If you're able to get something like that, by now you guys are hearing the song all over. You've seen it everywhere, and she's loving it. You know, creativity, right? Long after the fact that the job is done, you still want to get paid.
Every year, right after Thanksgiving, she gets on Twitter and says, like she lets it know that's my time. It's about to be my time. But you never know. I'm pretty sure those people who were part of the team or part of that idea or campaign had no idea that it would last this long. And that's what's beautiful about these things. So, you know, it's always great to be a part of
that's what keeps you growing, dimensions, like the idea. So like we encourage it. I love to see it. I love to see it.
There's dividends income, which is when you invest in dividends that are paying stocks and all of that as well. And you know, I seen a quote the other day though, that talked about before you get into stocks and crypto, make sure you get into some real estate, because that it can only go up. And it was from one of these financial advisors that was talking about it. He's like, yo, try your best. Like he's trying to preach to everybody to get into real estate so that you can see how money works and how you know, you can make money on it, so then you can be able to play with some money.
So dividend income is like getting profit off corporations, shareholders, and stock. But see, I kind of agree. I'm a real estate person, and like, you may see by now like real estate all over the world kind of a thing, but it's more tangible. You have more control. The stock thing is like, I bought something online, but what is it? Do I see it? Like, I don't know what's going on. Do I have control over it? So it's like you actually get to see how money works. Like when you talk about real estate, like throughout the process, like if it's buy and sell building, then you have to wait for it to sell. Then you call your shareholders, whatever it is, and all aspects. So I'm a big fan of real estate, but through that, you take that information and you want to jump into, as you said, crypto and stocks and see how that plays out. Like, you know, it's like people assume get into stock, my money will double, I'll pull it out. But you know, and that's it. And here's a word of advice: if you ever buying stocks, like any kind of stocks that pay dividends, give it a gold star. Up. That's a thumbs up, right? Some of the few things to look at. But yeah, real estate covers that. Dividends in shareholders in corporation or any kind of business also covers that. And it's kind of like it could be annually, weekly, or anything.
And I encourage everybody, just look in your room, look in your closet, look at the shoes you buy. Those things that you see on your counter, put some money into it. Don't just buy them and then that's it, because they're making money at that. Get some money back in the return on the back end, especially if you are a customer that shops with that company or you use these products all the time. You know what I mean? A lot of people just have stuff that is sitting there. While it's sitting there on your desk, it's not making you no money. So even get some, budget, get some money to the side and put it back, especially if there's, kudos to the women and ladies. They like, I'm becoming a fan of actually educating myself on the products that women like to use, so that I can see what money I can put into companies and stuff like that. So I try to, it just encourage some of the man or the guys that are out there, do the same too. Have some conversation when you're talking to ladies or your lady or whatever it is, and find out what they spend their money on. There's a lot of products, a lot of gems that are out there. The next one is, it's simple. The same products you use, buy those stocks. Like literally.
Yeah. Whatever you believe in, whatever you're a customer of, you're a strong believer, you back it up. You're telling people why you use it. Is it great? You're not the one that feel that way. And you can actually encourage people to maybe get that product. So that in itself makes you a believer, makes you a customer. So you should always
pretty sure everybody has some Nikes in their closet, Starbucks, these companies that we be, hey, get something back in the return so you can smile about it. So now when you go to that shop, you'll feel even more better and understand.
You may be a small shareholder, but hey, you're a shareholder. Yeah.
Get involved, get some capital. The next one that I want to talk about, which I know you like this one and love that you've made me. You see, when you pay attention to people, you actually your decisions become easier when you're focused. The next one is rental income. What you earn when you rent out your property. And this one, I think it kind of speaks for itself. But there's a joy and there's a great cloud, like the sunny days that come when you get involved in these things.
I just want to get we said rental, right? It doesn't necessarily mean real estate, right? Property. Any kind of property you do have that you rent out, right? You can gain rental income. Any property that you do have that you rent out, I myself, I do own a property, so I do get rental income from the real estate aspect. But like I said, people may rent out their, as far as their laptop, their space in itself, and gain some type of income through the process of renting, right? Even vending machines, any kind of property that you possess that you choose to rent it out and make money is in essence the sense of rental income, which is another source of income. So if you have anything worth of value to the world that people may be interested in, rent it out to gain that, once again, financial gain for you to better contribute to the things that you want and care about, right? Rental
income, I love it the most because it goes hand in hand with passive income. And I think these are conversations that people need to understand. And there's some joy in it. Like when a couple of my boys have some vending machines, and you'll be surprised. You'll be very, very surprised with how everything adds up.
Yeah, it does add up. And people like vending machines, $2, $3. Hey, $2 a day after a while, you compound it, you add it up, you see where you are from where you started. And it is with anything else. That's why I just wanted to make it clear that rental income doesn't necessarily mean real estate, right? Because like I said, people have this perception of life, an upward view of life, that this is too far, I'll never make it, I'll never be there, this will never be me. These people are just talking. But like I just said, it's any piece of property that any property of yours that you have that you could rent out.
Now, the next one that we're going to speak on is capital income, and that's when your assets increase in value, like mortgage.
Capital gains, yeah. Like owning a piece of real estate and a piece of property, something worth of value, like NFTs that we're heading into, right? The gains that you gain on it over time, right? People say the housing market will crash and NFT will never happen, and some of these things, hey, nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. You do your education. We could better predict the future by studying our history and studying how we react to things, right? So capital gains, these are all any kind of source of income. If you believe in something, it may not produce rental income, right? And rental income, maybe you might be on the negative every month, right? Which nowadays would be difficult because home prices are so high. Usually your rent doesn't exceed your rental income doesn't exceed, sorry to bring it back to the rental income, your rental income doesn't exceed your mortgage, so you're kind of in the negative every month. However, there's capital gains, right? So you may not gain rental income from your piece of property, but you will gain capital gains on the aspect that the property in itself is going up, right?
And I mean, when it comes to these different ones, I mean, they all play a role. Like we're still, look how long this conversation is going, and these are on different incomes.
Different income. These are all sorts of incomes. As we break it down, it's not this thing where I gotta own a music label, own artists to have a royalty income, or I gotta own a store to do buy and sell. You can do this in all aspects. Like I said, rental income is having a property. Capital gains is having something of value and the gain that you gain over time, right? Earned income is you decide to go to job, exchanging labor, exchanging your skill set for monetary. We talk about profit income. We also mentioned that interest income could be anything in all other scope. Like even when we talk about dividend income, like when we talk about things that you should get into, the things that you do love, it could be either Nike, Starbucks, LV, Henny, whatever that you spend most of your time doing, invest in. But it's all different things. You don't have to get into Apple or Tesla stocks to start seeing dividend income. I don't think all those even pay dividends. I'm not sure. I wish I could have the list in front of me, but it's like the things that you love, like in all other avenues, like tap into something else. Because if you just depend on maybe earn income, it'll be very difficult for you to break free and start focusing on the things that we talk about on this platform for you to focus on to free yourself and mind.
And the last one I'm gonna talk about, and I encourage everybody to have friends and mentors who you had these conversations with. Because I remember when I first started getting passive income and even residual income, I was amped. I thought, okay, this extra money I'm gonna get, I'm gonna start spending it. And my boy, shout out to V, V's the one who got us together. But V's like, nah, fam, you gotta put that and tuck that away, and then use that money to make money. And then when you make money from that, that's what you spend.
Yeah, you that's what you just said. It's just all about compounding, right? It's just all about compounding, freeing yourself. So you take your earned income, maybe get into interest income, maybe you wanted to get into dividend income, and eventually gets to a point where you make way beyond your means that you could possibly. Like I forgot what they said the number is, but no man could spend more than 400 trillion, like in their lifetime. I'm not sure the exact number, something like that. So it's like, what are you gonna buy? Like if you buy all the boats, how much houses are you gonna live in? Like, you know what I mean? So eventually that's what we talk about, financial freedom, freeing yourself. And if you could tap into all these kind of avenues and gain this, like you could start reaching out to different aspects of your life and start focusing on other parts of your life that you want to focus on.
And there's some books that I encourage. I actually have one. I don't know if my bag is here or not, but you put me onto that, The Richest Man in Babylon.
How to spend money, 70% on yourself, 10 from where you got it from, the other 10. George Clayson, that book is from, correct?
Yes.
George Clayson.
Follow Max to Speak as well too, because you broke this down in the earlier days on your Twitter.
Yes.
I be going through your tweets. I be going through your
once
tweets.
Once in a while, go through this, thinking about this. Let me tweet. That's what Twitter is all about, you know. It's for me. It's like my diary. But yes, 70, 10, 10, and 10, right? Don't spend more than 70%, 10% to invest back in yourself, 10% to give back. Like I just said, always give back, right? For those people. It doesn't necessarily mean charity, but give back to where you came from. And the last 10 is to invest it in somebody else. And these are rules that I believe in. And eventually, you want to 70% on yourself, I think is high. All right, stop spending 70% of your money. Live below your means, right? Start maybe the investment in others and investment in yourself should be getting to around 20, but do what works best for you. And this is just the general rule from the book. At the beginning, it could be 97, 1 and 1 for you, right? Maybe you cannot, maybe you do need more than 70% of yourself, but eventually you want to do less over there, right? If your income, and it's all about percentages, right? That's why we say if you have $100, right? It's all about percentages. If you make $1 million, I'm not going to say spend $700,000 on yourself, right? Maybe you only need 10,000. So maybe that 700,000 could invest into something for you to gain more. And that's just the cycle. Financial literacy, like let's make it be cool. It's so important, guys.
Making it uncle cool.
It's so important.
And the last one I'm going to talk about is residual income, and that's when you continue to get paid after the work is done. I love this one the most, though.
Yeah, it's kind of like royalty, you know. It falls along like royalty, you're going to share for your piece of work. But residual income is the money flowing after the work is done. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I complete something here, I set up something, a property, whatever it is, and these are all a form of cash flow. The only thing on here that really requires you to do anything, I'll probably still be earned income and profit income, the buy and sell, making profit off something that you buy and sell. But residual, right? This is where you want to be in the and the money just flow. Then you could go be on the beach that we all dream to be, right? Invest in something that give us the residual, the freedom for us to continue to live the lifestyle that we want, the utopian life, which I don't agree. Yeah.
And when to talk about these 8 income streams, when usually people want a certain type of lifestyle, they don't understand what the people have to go through and what they're doing. And these are what majority of the successful people are doing. And it takes a lot of work.
What do they say? The average millionaire have about 7 sources of income.
100%.
Yep, the average millionaire, right? So if you want to get into a class, if you want to find out how it is and how it works, then that's an answer right now. The average millionaire have 7 sources of income. So if you're talking about being a millionaire, studied and learned them, and they say they have 7 sources of income, no millionaire on average is making millions off earned income. I wonder what you must be doing to begin to making $1 million just exchanging labor for monetary. So it's difficult. It probably does. Who knows? You could be in the valley making $300,000 a year, and then I guess, but. That requires a lot of skill sets.
I seen a post that there, one of these TikToks where it talked about corporations and CEOs and companies where they have like a bundle of money like this, and then so basically the CEO, the company, they take the money, then it goes to countries. Then from the countries they bring it out to like the president of the company, then he gets to share the money. Then the president puts it down to whoever's in charge of finance, and then it keeps getting lower. So it starts like this, it goes high, lower, and then it gets to the average worker. Mm-hmm. And I say that to say, this is why we need to have these conversations and make it something that we're talking about, so you understand. If you want to be able to purchase land, if you want to be able to do all these things, it requires some kind of action, but understand how the world works and how the universe
works. It'll be difficult. Those people are putting up the fight. It'll be difficult for you to change some of these rules. I'm not saying forget about it. Have a meaning of life, have a bare responsibility. But shout out Jordan Peterson, clean your room. Before you go take on these problems that this is unjust and this, that, worry about changing yourself. Most people want to change the world, but they want to change themselves, right? So some of these things is how the cookie crumble, but maybe working your way up the ladder and to be in a position to change others' life, and so some of these things that you feel that's unjust.
And I guess how much of reading books on financial literacy adds and helps into us understanding how money works.
Education, in some homes it's not talked about. It's a taboo, right? If it's not, some people say money is evil. The root of evil is money. I believe it's lack of money is the root of our evil. It's usually when people don't have money, they make desperate decisions, do things they shouldn't be doing, right? But when they usually have money, I never saw somebody with $1 billion saying, I need to go rob the bank, I need to go outside and mug somebody because I don't know where dinner is coming from, right? So it's lack of money. So it's about getting that information you don't know where you don't know. Maybe your family didn't speak about it because it's quite embarrassing. Some people, I don't think it should be an open discussion. There's nothing wrong with it, right? It could be due to circumstances, whatever it is, but we must take it upon ourselves to change our circumstances. Either if the circumstances can't change, then you have to change, right? Right, so that's how I look at it. So it's like reading, to answer your question, it's intricate.
And that's a decision that we got to make. That's what we talk about, you versus you. You got to keep it real with yourself.
Yep. Get that information. Richest man in Babylon. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Find out people who have done it, right? And how do they do it and how it works for them. And after a while, after you reading these books, you don't even have to read it because you realize it's kind of like the same message.
Lifestyle.
Right? It's a lifestyle. It's decisions that you do make. Are you comfortable yourself to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I missed out, right? But I missed out because I have bigger plans. I want to get a property, and I don't mean like real estate. I want to get a property to maybe do rental income. It's a pay price to action. I might miss out on a few drinks here and there, so I could get into buy and sell, like go on Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace. You'll be actually surprised the prices that you see on Facebook Marketplace, and people don't do their research. And hey, if you did your research, right, you should get reward for it, right? People like, it's unfair. Why would you go buy something for 107 for 150? Well, we are capable of doing such, but if I put the time, we get paid by our value and the skill set that we could bring to the marketplace, and also how how rare is it in short term, but our skill set we bring to the marketplace, and can we get anybody else to do such, right? So if you're doing something that people feel, oh, I could do it too, and you're doing it, by all means, this is what it's worth, the marketplace will pay for that, right? Don't let anybody make you feel like you're overpricing or anything like that, right? If they could do it, let them do it. But if you put it in the nitty gritty, shout out Gary Vee. I always see him with garage sales, and people are like, you're a millionaire. That's his bread and butter. He loves it, just the thrill. Like, I get thrills on the interest, the interest money, and it could be like, you're in real estate. You're interested in what your rate of interest would be on $1,000. That's my nitty gritty. That's where I came up from. That's what it is. So it's like these things, you can't let it escape from you. And it's like, then you can further contribute to the things on the upside. I'll give you a great advantage of life.
Now I wanna get into our affirmation. So before I do that though, I'm just gonna repeat the different 8 income streams so that if you're taking notes, you can do your own diligence and do your own research as well too. So the first one was earned income, second one was profit income, third was interest income, the fourth was royalty income, the fifth was dividends income, sixth rental income, seventh capital income, and 8 residual income. End of the day, everybody, let's get some income. Let's get different income. We encourage it. Let's get to it, and let's accomplish some of these great goals. It's being done already, right? It's all about sacrifices and discipline. So let's get to it. And I want to see everybody win, just like how I know my brother Max wants to see everybody win. He shows it through his action by always helping people and being there for people. So we encourage this. Let's get into our affirmation for today. So our affirmation today is, I am wealthy beyond measure. I attract money in many ways, some that I can't even see right now. I am always going to support myself financially, and I allow money to flow into my life without resistance. I'm going to repeat that again. And I love affirmations. When you speak this stuff, it's like, if there's one key word in that Max will break down, but I'll repeat it again. I am wealthy beyond measure. I attract money in many ways, some that I can't even see right now. I am always supported, including by financially, and I will allow money to flow into my life without resistance.
I love that. I will allow money to flow in my life without resistance. Right? I know you guys say, the money come back. But we're talking about the decisions that you make. That's stopping the decisions. Like those are the resistance, the little decisions that you do make. The holidays, if your phone works, don't psych yourself out and say you need a new iPhone. Right? Learn to make shit skip you. Sorry for my language. Learn to make things skip you. Right? Actually, not sorry for my language. Learn to make shit skip you. Right? So it's like, that's what we talk about. Like, don't get caught up in the world of consumerism of needing this and needing that. Right? That's not the answer. Next year there's gonna be something else, and that's the resistance. That's the blockade you're putting in front of yourself to not feel yourself. Right? You may feel left out during the holidays. People are traveling. Shout out everybody in Ghana. Like, people are traveling and think like, I want to be there and this, that. But it's okay for you to sit out, right? Speaking of that, this is actually the second time being in Ghana in December, right? Because I understand the circumstance. I'm not blind by wanting to fit in with the crowd or anything else. When you have a purpose, when you have a bigger goal, right? You do not care about fitting in with the crowd, right? You're not a follower, you're not a sheep, right? You have bigger goals and plans, and eventually it'll come back around. And when it does come back around, nobody remembers about last year, right? So these are the resistance. These are some of the things that we talked about. It's not necessarily like you saying, I don't want money. It's the decision that you do make. That's the resistance, the blockade you're putting in front of yourself from stopping that money flowing to you.
And I'm actually excited about, going to being in Ghana, actually, because the last time we were there at the same time, we didn't really get to link as much. But this time we're gonna be, live.
It's difficult to link with my brother, MC, voice of the party. Like, I understand. Nightlife, like, you know what I mean? You gotta do what you do. You gotta love what you do. But yes, this time is about touching down with our roots, connecting with people. Times has changed, growth. That's what it's about. So it's good to see.
And I'm excited because there's a couple people who are coming that want to get into real estate, and I've already had the conversation because you already got your feet wet in it, and it's good. Sometimes that's why it's good to know who's doing what, because you don't have to be that guy. I could connect you to somebody and still be able to make some income off of that by introducing people together. So you got to do your due diligence and find out different ways how you can make income by not even being the actual person who's doing like buying the land or buying the
Yeah,
house.
in many different ways, you may play a role that you may not see, right? Like, you never know. Don't be afraid to ask. And that could be the stepping stone, right? You could just be around a little. If it's just pushing chairs around to fit in part of the team, so be it for now. But you're willing to make that sacrifice, the flow. It's all investment within yourself, right? For a better future. We got to make that investment. We got to make these decisions to see ourselves in a better place than we are today.
And one thing I want to touch up now that we're talking about money management and finances is how important is it for us to better our skills, our skill sets that we have when it comes to jobs, when it comes to life. Because I feel like the more skills you have, the more income that you can get because you've put yourself above somebody that doesn't have that skill set.
Somebody's coming for your spot, like I talk about, right? The power of the tiny gains, right? If you were 1% better each day in a year, you're 37.78 better than who you were today, right? But if you plateau, if you do the bare minimum and you get worse because the marketplace is getting better, then you are 0.03 less than who you were last year, and it declines fast. And when things fall, they fall fast, ladies and gentlemen. You could try it, go outside and see how fast something falls and see how fast something builds up. Like I just said, the being better at the 1% each and every day, and a year from now, you're 37.78% better than who you were today. So each day, like when you plateau, by default, it's not on our side. Even if I just found this out, you get shorter as you get older. Like, I find
Was that a joke or are you trying to do it? He did it with me right here. I'm not joking. I know.
We're just messing around. But even in itself, like things like that, simple as things like that, we wouldn't think much of it. Like even status quo, you barely do nothing. Don't want to get stronger, reading, but you get decline by default, black. No push of a button, no nothing.
And I mean, I encourage everybody, enhance your skills.
You have to.
You know, it's crazy because a couple of weeks ago I was on WhatsApp and things are changing right in front of our eyes. Like in WhatsApp, it doesn't say Facebook no more; it says Metaverse. I was like, yo, it tripped me out, bro. Somebody bought land in a virtual in the Metaverse. They spent was it billions or millions? I think it was billions of dollars that they bought some land in a virtual,
there,
bro. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
We're going there. Wake up! Don't miss out. The greatest generation. Wealth transformation. We all live in one place. You're on Instagram. Log in right now. Close your app. Log in at the very bottom. It's Metaverse. Like this is where it is. The NFT. These things are real. The cryptos. I'm here to say they're here to stay. Right? They're here to stay. Any kind of scope aspect. Be first or be different. I look at it like this way, right? When you're the first one in the room, right, you control the seats. You decide who to sell it, right? If you're going and then you're pissed at who's controlling it, right? Be first or be different, right? So it's like tap in. Don't wait. Like, don't sit there and say, oh, wow, 2021. These guys are saying I should have. Don't be telling those stories. Like when people post the snap, well, do you still have it? Like, you know what I mean? We don't want to hear it. Do you still have it? Like, anybody could talk about how they are back in the days. It's like the high school athlete. Back in my days. Sorry, buddy.
And I can't wait to actually have an episode with an NFT expert on non-fungible tokens where we get to break it down and really get some. We're gonna have some fun on this platform. And honestly, kudos to everybody who takes the time out to subscribe, take it in, watch the stories. I've been going through the numbers and insights, and you guys are paying attention. And kudos to you because it's those people who are looking to get the information. The information's here that we're giving on a weekly basis, consistency.
And once again, this being a premiere episode and you guys are still able to support, you know what I mean? It's all about adjustment under the circumstances and being a premiere and getting that feedback. You guys still engaging with, to all our people. We love it on the Spotify World, Podcast World, Apple Music, and all platforms. Like you said, if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit us up on Instagram. We take questions. You may hear something. Pull it back. Say, Max, you're talking about a topic on this. I'd like to hear more. Can you describe? And we'll gladly get back to you. Our email. We have a strong team behind us that support us in any way. And whenever you see us out, I don't know about Ebo. Don't treat me like a celebrity. Come have a conversation with me.
No, please, I talk to everybody. Send a DM to a week.
Whatever it is, I'll hit you back up immediately. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not better than anybody else. Just once like you, looking for the answers. Like, so we're free to share information, but subscribe to our channel.
And you know, we were talking about income, and I didn't really, you know, I always encourage people when you come in, click that like button, come in. So my bad, I usually supposed to throw that in here, but
it's not too late. Click, like, share.
Just like that. And I mean, I'm having fun. Kudos to you. I remember in the beginning when we were trying to get to where we're at right now. Now I understand why it was so important for us to take it to this next step. And you know, a round of applause and a pat to the back to you, everybody on the team that supported this and making this happen. And now we're getting accustomed to it. Now we're knocking out these kind of episodes, and I'm impressed. I'm happy. I'm proud.
One thing I want to say is, like, a lot of people came along the way that are no longer with us, and you could tell from the beginning we had people that came inside and part of the team. And like, you guys are all still part of it. For whatever they went on to do anything else, like, you guys are part of it. Like, you may not be able, you're still Motivation Monday family. You can always reach us out, right? It's all love. You guys are all part of this. We'll never forget what any of you guys have done for us, and, you know, having the meetings and everybody in the studio, and, you know, people went along their ways. It's like, it's about passion, loving it, and it's great to see others moving on to what it is that they love.
Couple weeks ago, the last week of November, it was funny because I was on Snapchat and I seen a memory a year ago when I was in the States and we were having little meetings and just trying to create and figure out what we were gonna become. And we've come a long way. And it was actually encouraging to see that video. It actually, like, because sometimes you get caught up and you forget, things happen, but it's like you got to remind yourself.
Document the moment, like, just pull it out, enjoy the moment, live in the moment. You see the growth yourself, right? There's never a perfect time, but when you look back at from where you are to where it is you are now, and a year from now, we're gonna be playing this back. Like, do you remember what episode we on? Do you remember episode 88? We're like 200, 300, whatever it is, whatever it may be. Like, wow, like, that's growth. That's what it's all really about. But guys, thank you again for this wonderful episode. The love and support that you guys always show. Subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow our personal pages. I'm Max the Speaker.
I'm MC Ebo. And if you liked anything you saw today, make sure you share this out. Put it in your story. Let people know we have the TikTok, Motivation Mondays medias. We're doing it all, man. We're doing it all. We're making a Facebook
wherever
pages
you are,
made.
we're finding you.
Let's go.
Wherever you are, we're coming there. We're coming.
That wraps up this week's episode. Peace and love.
Peace.